On tonight's North Fulton Prep Rally, good, bad, and ugly from this past week of football, Alpharetta comes off a big loss to Mill Creek. Could the Raiders right the ship? After an opening game win, Centennial has hit the skids. Did they have a chance against last year's state runner-up? And Roswell, another team that's had a tough start to their season, and it wouldn't get any easier against Norcross. Could the Hornets get their first win of the year? So try and stay awake, because we've got all your exciting finishes on North Fulton Prep Rally right now.
Comcast presents your source for North Fulton High School sports. This is North Fulton Prep Rally.
Hello and welcome to this edition of North Fulton Prep Rally, your weekly high school sports program featuring the very best North Fulton High School action. I'm Daryl Scher, joined by Nathan Shutter year-round on Comcast Channel 25. Catch us weeknights at 6, 8, and 10. And Nathan, it was a very interesting week 3 here in North Fulton as we get to our keys to the weekend, especially up in Alpharetta, where that game went to 3 overtimes.
Yeah, crazy game for Alpharetta and Duluth. Alpharetta comes out on top 43-41 in 3 overtimes. Just a great game, great win for Alpharetta.
And for the Hornets, more struggles.
And they lose on the road to Norcross 49-14. The Blue Devils score on their first 5 possessions. This one wasn't really close. Tough one there for Roswell.
And Chattahoochee starting a new streak.
Yeah, they defeat Forsyth Central 35-7, jumped out to a 24-0 first half lead and never looked back. 1-1 now on the season, a brand new streak for the Cougars.
All right, well, let's get to the highlights, and we start things off in Alpharetta with a team that ran into a buzzsaw last week in Mill Creek, and they would get another tough team with a surprising Duluth Wildcat bunch coming to town. Pick this one up in the second quarter. Raiders driving. Jalen Simmons, the handoff, he goes in for a couple yards out, 7-0 Alpharetta. Then Wildcats trying to answer. Anthony Stewart to Miles Campbell, goes in for the apparent touchdown. The ref says holding, so take it off the board.
They would have to settle for a field goal attempt. Stewart Hinch doinks it off the post. No good. Keeps it 7-0 Alpharetta at the half.
Third quarter, more from the Raiders. Simmons taking it again, this time from 22 yards out. Goes in for the touchdown, makes it 13-0 Alpharetta. Fourth quarter now, Duluth would get things going. Stewart finds Campbell over the middle. He reels it in, and he is going to outrun everyone into the end zone. 32-yard touchdown, makes it 13-7.
But the Raiders come right back. Joshua Dobbs out of the gun, going to the end zone for Carlos Burst. He makes the catch for the 30-yard touchdown. 2-point conversion good, 21-7 Alpharetta. But
Duluth, they drive it again. Stewart swings it out to Henry Enyanahi. He dives in and gets in for the score, cuts it to 21-14. And under a minute to play, the Wildcats strike again. Stewart looking downfield again, and Michael Randall all alone in the end zone for the game-tying touchdown. We head to overtime.
And the first 2 overtimes couldn't settle it, and in the third overtime, Enyanahi takes the handoff, is going to dive in again for another touchdown. 2-point conversion, no good, makes it 41-35 Duluth.
So it's Alpharetta's turn, and they go back to Simmons, dragging all the defenders in for the touchdown. That is going to tie the game at 41. And the rules say you have to go for 2 in the third OT. So Dobbs rolling out, and he's going to throw it back to wide open Adam Schildhammer. That is your game winner. The fans rush the field, and Alpharetta takes it 43-41 over Duluth in 3 overtimes. And this one was another close game for the Raiders, but like before, they somehow find a way to win.
Yeah, it's been a pretty impressive start for Alpharetta. Had that first game against North Cobb to come from behind and score a late touchdown to win that one. The Mill Creek game wasn't too good. We'll forget about that one. But this week, to go into 3 overtimes against a good team like Duluth, a good offensive team. I think the most impressive part is that they were up 21-7 in the fourth quarter. The score a little lopsided once you get to overtime. But when their backs were against the wall, Alpharetta stood up, won the game. Coaches probably weren't too happy that they blew that lead in the fourth quarter, but hey, at the end of the day, they got the W, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, that's all that matters. All right, back to the highlights now, and Roswell seems to be the San Diego Chargers of North Fulton. Much like last year, the Hornets have started the season with 2 straight losses, so could they turn things around against a talented Norcross team? Blue Devils with the ball in the opening drive. Joseph Wilbur swings it out to Jason Kroom. He'll hurdle a defender on his way to pay dirt, and Norcross takes a 7-0 lead. And still in the first quarter, Blue Devils' third possession of the game. Wilbur hooks up with J.T. Tolbert, and Mr. Tolbert showing off his moves all the way for another Norcross touchdown. 21-0 boys in blue.
Roswell going to try and get something going on offense. Ryan Monty going to hand it off to Andrew Quatang. He shows off some fancy footwork and picks up positive yardage before being brought down by the Norcross D.
Then later in the drive, Monty rolling to his left, and he launches it downfield for Bennett Barton. He makes the catch and fights for the extra yardage. The drive would eventually stall, though. Roswell heads to the locker room down 35-0. Second half, Norcross with great field position following a turnover. Jay McNair takes the handoff. He tries to go to his left and cuts it back to the right. So he's got wide open space for the touchdown. Blue Devils up 42-0.
Roswell looking for something positive. Monty gives it to Quatang. He's still running hard. Picks up a big gain on the ground to get into Norcross territory.
And it's Monty swinging the pass out to Barton in the flat, and Barton will use his legs to pick up the first down and keep the drive alive. And then the Hornets would eventually cash in. Monty rolling to his left, and he fires a strike to John Albert for the touchdown, but it was too little too late for the Hornets. They lose 49-14 to Norcross. So for the second straight season, Roswell starts 0-3. So is this going to have a big-time effect on the Hornets?
Well, last year they kind of made it a positive. They were able to bounce back and win the region title. Still remains to be seen if they can do that again. I felt like last year they were in all 3 games. They were tough losses. This year, the Collins Hill game in the first week, they kind of blew a big lead in the second half, and then these last 2 games, they weren't really in it, having trouble getting the offense going. I think once they get the offense going, get a little confidence, they'll be fine. I mean, they did it last year. They started 0-3, still won the region title. It's anybody's game once we start region play.
It's very true. All right, more highlights now as we check in on Centennial, who got an opening night win but struggled last week, and they would get the state runner-up in 3A Carrollton to deal with at the Fortress. First quarter action, Carrollton driving, DJ Johnson finding a hole and gaining some yards, but Brandon Moore knocks the ball loose. Jolene Albert falls on it for the Knights, but the Centennial offense would stall all night long. Jimmy Meyer can't connect with his receiver, and they would have to punt.
So the ball goes back over the Trojans, and this time they will make the Knights pay. Telvin Brown finding a huge hole. He's taking 39 yards for the touchdown. Makes it 7-0 Carrollton.
Trojan offense looking for more. Dallas Dickey rolling out and airing it out downfield. But Corey Grimes is there for the leaping interception for the Knights. Second quarter now. The Trojans on offense again. Davis on the end around, weaving his way through defenders down the sideline, and he is gone for the touchdown. Makes it 14-0 Carrollton.
Then more from the Trojan offense. Dickey going deep for Josh Barge. He makes the nice catch and is brought down at the 11-yard line.
In Carrollton, they would punch it in from there. Brown being patient, and he weaves his way through the defense for another touchdown. And Carrollton all over Centennial, 48-0. So another tough one for the Knights. I mean, I have to ask you, where do they go from here?
Well, it was a very tough loss, but you're playing a very tough team. I mean, Carrollton went 14-1 last year, lost in the state championship game to Sandy Creek. So a very, very good team. If you're the coaches, you take a look at the game tape, take some notes. After that, you probably burn this one. I mean, there's not a lot to see when you lose 48-0, but hey, it's all about the region schedule. The Knights have played well this season. They've had a couple tough patches, but I think they're going to be very good. They have a good quarterback, good receiver, good running backs. They're going to be a competitor just like everybody else in Region 6. This region is up for grabs, and Centennial is in the mix to win that title.
All right, we will see how that turns out for them. Time now to recap the rest of the Week 3 football action from around North Fulton. And we start things off with the Chattahoochee Cougars getting things back on track with a win.
Defeat Forsyth Central 35-7. The Cougars jumped out to an early 24-0 halftime lead. CJ Leggett broke free for a 53-yard touchdown run to make it 7-0. Hooch scored midway through the second, but with Travis Marshall scoring from 43 yards out. Then with just 2.7 seconds left for half, Marshall connected with Will Johnson on a 51-yard touchdown pass.
And it's Yurts Creek winning again.
Yeah, 3-0 now, defeat Cass 35-13. Blake Storm had 63 yards rushing and a touchdown. Cass actually outgained Johns Creek 256 to 233 in total yards. The Gladiators finished with 215 yards on the ground, and they get the W, which is the most important thing.
And a tough loss for Northview, but they're scoring points.
Yeah, close one, falling to South Cobb 35-28. Chris Beck, the difference in this one for South Cobb, 274 yards on 25 carries and 3 touchdowns in this one. Northview actually led 21-14 at the half. The Titans managed 233 total yards. Evan Jacks with 131 passing and a couple touchdowns.
And Milton loses a tough one to Harrison.
Heartbreaker, falling 15-12 to the Hoyas. Trayvon Paul was the game's leading rusher with 106 yards and 1 touchdown. Extra points were the difference in this one, unfortunately. Milton outgained Harrison in total yards, 277 to 257. So definitely in this game, just kind of tough going when you miss extra points.
And finally, Kings Ridge losing by 1.
Yeah, tough one, falling to Strong Rock Christian 21-20. Sophomore quarterback Bailey Miller was 15 of 25, 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. Senior wide receiver Devin Schmidt caught 8 passes for 102 yards and a touchdown. They will play at Fellowship Christian this Friday night. Hopefully they can get back on track.
So there are only 2 teams left now that are undefeated, Johns Creek and Lambert. So do you see them as being the favorites now?
Well, they definitely have the inside track in Region 7 4A, but look out for Chattahoochee. I think this team's going to get better as the season goes on. Lambert has the edge. They've already played the Hooch, but I really like Johns Creek. They have to go on the road to Woodland this week, which is going to be a tough game, and then they have the back-to-back Chattahoochee and Lambert. That's going to be a very telling 2 weeks for the Gladiators, but I like how they've gone so far. Heck, you can't beat 3-0, Daryl. I mean, that's great for Johns Creek.
Very true. That's a good program over there. Now let's get over to Milton. You predicted that they would be the region winners. Are you sticking with them, or are you jumping off the bandwagon?
Oh, no, of course I'm going to stick with them. I got to stick with my predictions there. I really like Milton. I think this region is up for grabs for anyone. The Eagles, though, I'm still sticking with, Daryl.
All right. That is going to do it for this week. Catch us back here on Comcast Channel 25 next week for game highlights and features. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, North Fulton Prep Rally, and always follow us on Twitter to see what's happening with the show. For Nathan Shutter, I'm Daryl Scher. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.